Welcome back to the Tales from the Cult YouTube channel and the Karizma Speaks podcast. I am your hostess, Queen Karizma, and I'm back with another commentary video and podcast episode. In today's episode, we will be continuing the series, The Dark Side of Hip Hop. In this video, we will explore the hidden and toxic aspects of the music industry. We'll be discussing the toxicity of beauty standards, racial biases, and misogyny in hip hop using the rapper and singer Doja Cat as an example. Make sure you hit the like button and you share and subscribe if you have not already. Shout out to my channel members and my channel subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will go ahead and begin with this disclaimer. Warning, viewers' discretion is advised. The Tales from the Cult YouTube channel / Karizma Speaks Podcast is for adults 18 and older. If you cannot handle adult topics in a respectful and mature manner, please do not watch. Karizma's commentary is raw, sugar-free, and maybe too real for you. If so, leave now. Topics discussed may be too sensitive for you. If so, leave now. I will not argue with anyone concerning my opinion. I will not be shamed into changing my opinion or topics. I will not apologize for my opinions. Anything I cannot prove is alleged. TFTC's content is for entertainment purposes only. Trolls, distractors, and fake supporters will be blocked. Clout chasers will be blocked. You have been warned. Thank you. All right. So let's get right into it. I will be using Doja Cat as an example for today's video. As always, this is not a personal attack against Doja Cat. I actually really like her style. I like some of her music. And I'm going to use her as an example because she is still a rising star and has received a lot of backlash for different things, including how she is supposed to or expected to look as far as beauty standards go in this male-dominated, exclusive hip hop industry. All right. So welcome, everyone. And I see you in the comments there. The truth of the matter that keep them coming, definitely. And make sure y'all check out parts 1 through 3 of the dark side of hip hop as well. Okay, these videos won't be as popular as my other videos because people do not want to hear the issues that we have in the hip hop industry, which affects the Black community. They love brushing issues under a rug. So I'm going to pull the rug up and bring these issues out. And I don't care who watches or who doesn't like it, the message will still be out there. So I appreciate everyone who has seen the videos, have commented, and have respected this platform and the direction where it will continue to go. All right. We will still expose content creators as well. That has not changed. Okay. Now, Doja Cat, she is a rising star in the hip hop industry. She's known for her unique style and her catchy beats. However, she has also faced criticism for her appearance, her ethnicity, and dating life. Some fans and critiques have commented on her skin color also and questioned her Blackness, while others have criticized her for dating white men. This is just one example of the beauty standards, racial biases, and misogyny that exist in the industry, which also exists in the Black community, because the hip hop industry and the Black community are now synonymous with one another, meaning that they have become one, which can be harmful to artists' mental health and physical health. The pressure to conform to certain beauty standards and stereotypes in hip hop is not new. From the early days of the genre, artists have been expected to prioritize Eurocentric features and hypermasculinity, which can lead to a culture of body shaming, colorism, and toxic masculinity. Female rappers also face the expectation that they should worship and submit to their male counterparts, particularly Black male rappers, who often expect female rappers to play a subservient role in their music and public image. Doja Cat's dating life has been a hot topic of discussion in the industry, with some Black male rappers criticizing her for dating white men. This is a harmful and divisive comment that perpetuates racial biases and stereotypes and undermines the diversity and complexity of the Black experience. It is important to recognize that love and relationships are personal choices and should not be judged based on race and ethnicity. So, this is what we love to do a lot. The ignorant people in this community and the ignorant people in hip hop, they love to focus on race and color. And they basically, any outcomes of relationships, any outcomes of certain situations, people will base this on a person's race to justify their hatred and discrimination against other groups of people. And it has nothing to do with race, it has everything to do with the person. Sure, there are different cultures and we should be culturally aware, but this community, especially, is very hateful towards other races as well, but loves to play the victim card and would love to say that everyone is against them, and they don't take accountability for their bigotry, their hatred, their divisiveness, colorism, and other things that are problematic to other groups of people. So, this is what I'm going to be continuously pointing out. All right. So, Doja Cat's dating life, again, has been a topic of discussion, with some Black male rappers criticizing her for dating white men. Now, this is not exclusive to Black male rappers. There's also the Black women who follow after these Black male rappers in their ideology, in their ignorance, and they spew out the same rhetoric to Black women. Okay. And sometimes they can be worse than the men. They love to act like the men's pit bulls or bodyguards and viciously attack women online to get the approval of men who will never do the same for them. Now, again, Doja Cat dating white men has nothing to do with her talent. It has nothing to do with her beauty. It has nothing to do with her personality or her success. But this is highlighted because, again, this hip hop industry is male dominated, and specifically Black male dominated. And the ignorant men in the community who are Black, they perpetuate this harmful and divisiveness, this harmful behavior and divisiveness. So again, this divides Black people and it puts us in a box, and it puts us in a stereotype that we continuously try to fight against with other people outside of the community. Black people do not make it better. In fact, they make it worse, and they perpetuate the racial biases and stereotypes. And again, they undermine diversity unless it's a Black man dating a white woman, which is typically more accepted than a Black woman dating a white man. They have nothing to say about these rappers dating outside of their race, but as soon as a Black woman chooses to date anyone other than a Black man, they are ostracized, they are bullied, they are targeted, they are called all type of derogatory names. And it goes back to a low self-esteem that the men in this industry has, specifically the Black men who think this way. It's important to recognize, again, love and relationships are personal choices and not to be judged based on race or ethnicity. That stems from the ignorance, unfortunately, in this community, the lack of education, especially, is where this type of mindset comes from. The lack of education and the utter ignorance that they are blinded by, that they don't even see when they look in the mirror. They don't see how ignorant and stupid they are. Some artists who have spoken out about Doja Cat's dating life include the 50-year-old rapper Nas. 50 years old. A 50-year-old Black man and rapper Nas, who released a diss track in 2020 when Doja Cat was only 23 years old, against her, titled Ultra Black. The track features the lyric, quote, unapologetically Black, opposite of Doja Cat, end quote, which has been interpreted as a criticism of her dating life. It is worth noting that Nas has a history of perpetuating colorism in his music and has been criticized for his preference for mixed and light-skinned women. So that is where the hatred comes from. When these women that they fetishize do not want them, they go to resorting to bullying them and ostracizing them and dissing them in their music. And this is a code to let other Black male colorists know not to work with her, or not to open the gates of opportunity for her, which she won't have a problem with because she reaches more people than just Black, fortunately. It is important to also acknowledge that Nas's ex-wife, who was the singer Khalees, has accused him of being physically abusive during their marriage. This type of language and objectification of light-skinned women is harmful and perpetuates harmful stereotypes and biases about interracial relationships and skin color. This also proves that even when they're in relationships with their fetishes, they do not treat them right either. So overall, it's an objectification of the Eurocentric beauty standards, and he's a so-called pro-Black guy. You will find that a lot of these low self-esteem pro-Black men are in fact infatuated with lightness and whiteness and brightness. And they perpetuate the colorism right there in the industry and in the music, and they do not defend or call out other men for doing this. Again, that goes back to their lack of education and stupidity, which is very dominant in this male-dominated culture. They don't go to school, a lot of them. They don't finish high school, a lot of them. A lot of them are dropouts. So this is utter ignorance that comes out of their mouth. And the only people who think they are important are Black people. Outside of the Black community, they are not important. In fact, they are looked at as low class. They're not taken seriously. They are looked at as clowns. Only in this community and other communities who worship this type of detrimental behavior, they only find these people to be important. Everyone else with an education and with some knowledge and common sense can realize that those people, those rappers who do this, who speak this way, who perpetuate discrimination and racism and homophobia and sexism in the industry and into the Black community, they are not valuable. It is crucial to recognize that abusive behavior, whether that's physical or verbal, is never acceptable and should not be excused or overlooked, regardless of an individual's status or influence in the industry. It's also important to recognize that the pressure to conform to certain beauty standards and stereotypes in hip hop can have a negative impact on artists like Doja Cat, who may feel pressured to conform to narrow and harmful stereotypes. This can also have a negative impact on fans, particularly young people of color who may internalize these biases and struggle with their own identity and self-worth. It's time for the industry and the Black community to promote a more inclusive and diverse image of Blackness, one that celebrates the complexity and richness of the Black experience. Here's another example. Lil' Kim, Lil Kim have faced colorism and bullying in the industry. Despite being a pioneer in the genre and one of the most successful female rappers of all time, Lil Kim has been criticized for her appearance and skin color. In particular, she has been bullied by Black male rappers who have made derogatory comments about her dark skin and her facial features. This affected her mental health, and obviously this has affected her outward appearance as she has strived to look like the Black women or the light skinned or mixed Black women that Black men worship. Again, this comes from their systemic racism and discrimination in the industry and their obsession with Eurocentric features. This stems from self-hatred. So even though they're trying to say that they're proud and they're Black and they loud, no, they're not. They're very divisive and very ignorant. And people do not give them People do not hold them accountable. That's another thing. They're not held accountable by other Black men, especially. You may have some people, some Black men calling this out, but most they are in agreement with it and they enable it. And they start spewing the same thing in their raps, and the same hatred continues in this community and other communities as well. This type of bullying and colorism is harmful and perpetuates harmful stereotypes and biases about skin color and beauty standards. It is important to recognize that Blackness comes in many shades and forms, and that there is no one right way to be Black. It's pure ignorance and stupidity. By promoting narrow and harmful beauty standards, the industry is perpetuating a culture of body shaming, colorism, and toxic masculinity that can be harmful to artists' mental health and their physical health as well. And again, this trickle downs right into the Black community, since hip hop and the Black community are now synonymous with one another. These are the topics that we love to brush under the rug. This has been going on for decades. So instead of blaming the white man, look in the mirror and blame yourself. Especially if you promote these stereotypes, if you ever push these stereotypes and divisiveness on other people, that is a reflection of your own self-hatred and ignorance. Let's continue. It's time for the industry to promote a more inclusive and diverse, image of Blackness, one that celebrates the complexity and richness of this Black experience. This means rejecting harmful stereotypes and biases against skin color, beauty standards, and interracial relationships, and promoting a culture of respect, inclusivity, and empowerment. By doing so, we can create a more supportive and empowering environment for all artists, regardless of their skin color, gender, or background. One of the biggest issues with the perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and biases in hip hop and in the Black community is the lack of accountability for the artists who promote them. While there have been some efforts to call out and challenge these harmful behaviors, many Black male rappers continue to perpetuate harmful stereotypes about skin color, beauty standards, and gender roles without facing any consequences. It's time for you to stop streaming their music if they're perpetuating colorism or divisiveness in the community. It's time to call them out. It's time to stop double tapping their pictures on Instagram. It's time to unfollow them. It's time to stop supporting the hatred just because the hatred is on a beat. The lack of accountability is particularly troubling given the influence that these artists have on young people. This is where the bullying comes from in elementary school. Little black boys picking on little black girls, particularly dark-skinned black girls. Black girls who don't have the hair that you fetishize for. Meanwhile, you have the same damn hair coming out of your head. It's self-hatred. They see themselves in these dark-skinned black girls and women. That's where the hatred comes from. That's where the discrimination comes from. Your preference comes from systemic racism. Your preference comes from the Eurocentric standards of beauty. Your preference comes from your love of whiteness. And this is what they don't want to admit. This is where the hatred comes from. It's not a preference more than it is a divisive and hateful tactic to keep us separated and for them to continue to not take responsibility for their lack of accountability and their perpetuation of these harmful stereotypes that comes from the overall racism that we all experience, but they want to play the victim and blame the white man for everything. You are worse than the white man. The white man is not doing this. It is you who are doing this, who is doing this. And this is what we need to focus on. It is not the white man. It is you. The white man's not rapping on the beat. It is you. The white man isn't putting light-skinned women against dark-skinned women. It is you. Stop blaming the white man for your divisiveness, your racism, your discrimination, your sexism, your homophobia, your lack of education. Stop blaming the white man. It is you. It is you. Again, the lack of accountability is particularly troubling given the influence that these artists have. And they are not responsible in their fame. They are not responsible in their influence. They still continue to be ignorant and be constant and perpetual victims. This means that we need to, again, start holding these type of artists accountable for their words and actions and promoting a culture of respect, again, inclusivity and empowerment. It also means creating more opportunity for diverse voices and perspectives to be heard in the industry and not bullying other artists so they could fall in line and worship you and your ignorance. This also means supporting artists who challenge harmful stereotypes and biases. By doing so, we create, again, a more supportive and empowering environment for all artists and fans. This will also promote a more positive and inclusive image of Blackness in hip hop and beyond. Most people get their opinions of the Black community from hip hop. If you want to change people's opinions and how they treat you, you need to change what you are doing, what we are doing in this community, and specifically in the hip hop industry. You can't be doing stupid, ignorant stuff and expecting people to respect you. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Once you change, people's outcome and outlooks of you will change. You can't sit there smoking weed, drinking all day, hitting women, calling women bees and hoes, calling each other the N-word, and then expect everybody to treat you with respect. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? But this is what is demanded from the hip hop industry and the Black community. We have a lot to work on. It's not everybody else. It's not the white man. It is you, and it is me, and it is we, and it is us. Take accountability for your role in perpetuating systemic racism. Period. That is the main point here. That is the main point here. Doja Cat does not have to have long hair. She doesn't have to worship you. She doesn't have to date black men. She doesn't have to look like you want her to look. She doesn't have to wear a dress. She doesn't have to wear heels. She doesn't have to keep her mouth shut. Neither do I, and neither do any other woman. To summarize it all, the toxicity of beauty standards, racial biases, and misogyny in hip hop and the Black community is a real problem that affects both artists and fans. By using Doja Cat as an example, we can see how these standards and biases can be harmful and lead to a culture, again, of body shaming, colorism, toxic masculinity, and misogyny. You are not in control of who's Black. You are not God. You don't tell anybody how Black they are just because they may be mixed or maybe biracial. You are not God. No one has to bow down and worship you. No one has to conform to your beauty standards or what a woman should be or what a Black woman should be, how a Black woman should dress, how a Black woman should look. No one has to conform to your ignorance. It's time for the industry and the Black community, again, to promote more inclusive and diverseness, and especially when it comes to image of Blackness. One that celebrates the complexity and richness of the Black experience, as I mentioned before, and reject harmful stereotypes and biases. We must also recognize the impact that objectification and pressure to conform to beauty standards can have on these type of artists like Doja Cat and other artists like her and other male artists like her as well. And we need to work to create a more supportive, again, and empowering environment for all. It's too much ignorance in this industry. It's too much ignorance in this Black community. And again, that stems from the lack of education. You glorify ignorance. You glorify violence. You glorify some people being violent and glamorize baby motherhood. You glamorize baby fatherhood. You glamorize everything that is looked down upon. And everything that is looked up upon, getting an education, working an honest job, having an honest living, getting married, respecting women, respecting men, you look down upon. That is pure hatred and stupidity. And this is why overall people do not respect that. And you're not going to get respect or love from anybody, not even your own community, as long as you continue to be this ignorant. So it's time, yeah. A lot of us need to go back to school. A lot of us need to read a book. A lot of us need to look in the mirror and stop projecting our hatred and insecurities out on other people and stop blaming the white people and non-Black people for not protecting us and not doing this and not doing that. You're not doing it yourself. We're not doing it ourselves. What makes you entitled to anything from somebody else that you're not doing for yourself or your own community? You expect the most from other people, and you ain't doing a dang thing for yourself or your people. But got the nerve to say Black this and Black that and Black Lives Matter. It is all in your actions. You don't even think that Black Lives Matter. How divisive and hateful we are in this community. tearing other Black people down, celebrating divorces and celebrating breakups and celebrating anytime something bad happened to one of us, beating somebody down when they're already down. This is a hateful community, and it's nothing to be proud of. We have some good people in here that's doing great things, and all the people who's doing great things have an education. They're not ignorant. And then you do have some educated lames who are ignorant and still push this divisiveness. So it's not exactly all about the education, but education brings knowledge, and that brings you to the awareness of what's going on. If you choose to remain ignorant and to be ignorant after you've been educated, that's on you. And that shows your characteristics and personality. That is not all Black people. That is not all educated Black people. That's the ignorant ones. And we see that a lot here on YouTube. We see that a lot here on YouTube. The utter ignorance, especially from people with an education. So, with that being said, I would love to know your thoughts and comments. Leave them in the comment section below. Again, these videos won't be as popular because we love to avoid these issues. We love to brush them under a rug and go to find and watch something more dumb where we don't have to think. We love being dumb, a lot of us. We love being ignorant, a lot of us. Hate using our minds, a lot of us. Hate doing what's right, a lot of us. Do what will be self-fulfilling, a lot of us. And then blame everybody else. Blame everybody else. Meanwhile, we're just rolling in mud and in shit, not knowing that we're behaving like pigs. And don't see the own dirt on ourselves, but can point out the dirt in every other community and blame everybody else for what we do, what we allow, and what we enable, and what we perpetuate. We play a part in our own demise, in our own destruction. These rappers are not gods. These rappers are not going to save you. They will not pay your bills. They will not protect you. So why are you so defensive and so on the verge of fighting somebody online because this is your favorite artist? They do not know you, nor do they care about you or this community. Most of them. Most of them. Most of them. So why do you care so much about people who could care less about you? Are they paying your bills? Are they putting food on the table for you? And even if you are an artist and they are doing these things, will they continue to do it? What do you have to do for that in exchange? Promote colorism, continue to perpetuate the stupid ignorance and violence and glamify stupidity, which is why the homicides rates are high in this community, because you taking out your own brother. We don't talk about that though. But as soon as there's a white police officer and a Black man, you want to say something about that. How ignorant. Call each other the N-word all day. Soon as somebody else call you it or say it in the music, you got something to say about that. How ignorant. This community, including hip hop, is full of ignorance, and we constantly contradict ourselves. It's a pitiful shame. We have to do better, and we have to start recognizing these things. I don't care how popular it is. I don't care who gets mad. I don't care who I'm upsetting. I do not care. I'm going to continue to point this stuff out. The message will be out there, and I will continue to put the mirror on our own community. We need to take accountability. We need to start addressing these issues and getting help for these issues. Blaming the white man is not going to solve your problems. Enabling this behavior is not going to solve your problems. It's in fact going to make it worse. And all you're going to do is take it out on your brother and your sister and your children. That's all that we do. Period, point blank. No one has to conform to your way of thinking. No one has to be ignorant like these rappers. No one deserves to be ostracized because they don't think this way. No one deserves to be picked apart because they're biracial or multiracial. You are not the kings and queens of blackness. You do not control who's black and who's not. Who do you think you are? You have no power over nothing but your mouth. You don't get to say who's a woman and who's not based on how they dress or how they look, how feminine they look, if they wear makeup or not, if they wear their natural hair or not, if they wear weave. Who do you think you are? Control your own self and your own image and take responsibility for you perpetuating the systemic racism, the divisiveness, the colorism, the homophobia, the sexism, the violence, the alcoholism, the drug abuse, the physical abuse in this community. And stop blaming everybody else. It's sickening. Period, point blank. God is in control, not you. God is in control, not you. You have no control over others. Who do you think you are? Who do we think we are? Period. All right. So that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say before I really go off. I'm going to keep bringing these issues up front. I don't care how many people watching. I don't care how many people like it. I do not care. I'm going to continue to bring these issues front and center and make this community uncomfortable. Hopefully, you're uncomfortable enough to look in the mirror and change your own ways instead of blaming everybody else. Change how you treat one another, how we treat one another, how we speak to one another, how we do one another, instead of blaming everybody else. Because we are one of the most divisive and hateful communities out there, and no one talks about that. So I will continue talking about it. Let me just address some of these comments and then I'm wrapping it up. I appreciate everyone who listened, everyone who left a comment. All right. Eleanor said, good morning, Karizma and Chat. You have heeded your God-given calling and niche. Thank you so much, Eleanor. Appreciate you. Good morning to you as well. I hope you're doing well. Ahmad, thank you so much for being a channel member and being a subscriber. Good afternoon, Karizma and Chat. Welcome. Eleanor says, stay focused. Beautiful presentation and commentary. Thank you so much. Andriana, thank you. Say, hey, Karizma and Chat. Welcome. And thank you so much for being a subscriber. Carla, welcome. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and being a subscriber of the channel. She said, hello, Karizma and everyone. Hello. Brenda, welcome. And hello. Thank you for being a subscriber of the channel. Brenda said, Karizma always on point. Yeah, I try to be. I'm definitely going to keep improving and I'm definitely going to keep bringing out the messages that matter. Because what I realize is we love to deflect. We love to avoid. We don't address our own issues. We love to blame somebody else. We love to blame another race, another culture, just because they got their stuff together. And that goes back to education. Most other cultures, they prioritize education. This stuff is taught in schools and in books. But as long as we keep on consuming the very things that are not good for us, we're going to continue to have the outcomes that we don't want. There will continue to be homicides. There will continue to be abuse. There will continue to be colorism. There will continue to be divisiveness between who black and who not. And you got to have this much percentage of black. Who do we think we are? You don't control how people wear their hair. Oh, you can't wear braids. Oh, you need to wear natural hair in order to fully be and represent black people. Oh, this is stupid. And this is why we continue to lose. It's ignorant, it's divisive, and it's stupid. Go get an education and read a book somewhere. Real talk. It's very exhausting. It's very exhausting. Ignorance is bliss. And that's why we lose as a whole. Our ignorance. The lack of knowledge. That's what the Bible says. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge means the lack of education. That's basically saying we are ignorant. That's what destroys us. When you start educating yourself about other cultures, when you start educating yourself about colorism, when you start educating yourself about these things, you will realize just how ignorant we as a whole really are. And this is why other communities view us this way. As a whole, it's too many ignorant people in this community. That's why we are destroyed. So individually, you have to see this and unlearn the ignorance, unlearn the brainwashing, unlearn the colorism, and unlearn these things by unplugging from these type of artists, unplugging from these social media sites, unfollowing. Stop double tapping people who destroy your community and haven't done nothing for you and your community. Real talk. And as soon as you speak out, you got some ignorant fool wanting to buck up and argue. Don't argue back and forth with people. Block them if you could, or ignore them. Because that's what we got in this community. A lot of mouth and not a whole lot of intelligence. A lot of mouth and not a whole lot of intelligence. It's disturbing. Yeah, I'm going to continue to talk about it. I'm going to continue to make people uncomfortable. No, it's not the white man. It is you, it is me, and it is us. Just look at how people behave right here on YouTube. Fall right into the stereotype. By themselves. Ain't no white man doing that. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts. Leave these artists alone. They don't have to fit your standards of beauty. They don't have to fit how you think a woman should be or how a man should be. They don't have to fit that. No one has to fit that because you're not God. You are not God. You're not God. All right. That's all I have to say today. We will continue with part 5. We will continue to talk about the dark side of hip hop. Y'all have a good Sunday. Have a good week. And I'm going to be putting out these videos almost on a daily basis. I will be breaking them down. Check out the videos, check out the podcast. Members only, y'all will get exclusive deep dives into some of these artists. Okay, these are just my opinions for the general public and for subscribers, but I will be having deep dives on some of these artists for members only and get more into detail with what is going on. So y'all take care. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I will see you on the next video and podcast episode. Peace.